All right, can I retire at 55 with $1.6 million? Or said another way, let's look at a retirement income strategy for a 53-year-old male wanting to retire at 55 with a projected retirement asset or nest egg of $1.6 million. That's what we're going to look at today on the Your Financial EKG channel. My name is Drew Blackson. I'm a certified retirement counselor, investment advisor representative, and I am your virtual financial advisor, helping you get to retirement, helping you get through retirement, and protecting your ability to stay in retirement. So let's look at this. I've got a 53-year-old single individual. He makes $140,000 a year. Now, Social Security is projected at 67 to be $2,973. So one of the things that we're going to look at in his financial EKG is, when do we take Social Security? Do we take it at 62? Do we take Social Security at 67? Or do we take Social Security at 70? Now remember, if you claim Social Security benefits at 62, you're only going to get 70% of your full retirement benefit. If you claim Social Security at your full retirement age, so for him at 67, you would get 100% of your full retirement benefit. And if you wait to 70 to claim Social Security, you're going to get 124% of your full retirement benefit, okay? So his expenses right now are $4,167. Now we're going to put inflation on his expenses for the next 30 and 40 years. We're going to use 3.24% for inflation. That's a 108-year average. Now in assets, he's got a mix of accounts, of retirement accounts and non-retirement accounts, but he's got $1.6 million in those retirement accounts. Well, actually, he has a projection of $1.6 million at 55. And you'll see how we get to that $1.6 million in the software that we're going to get detailed. Now, here are his main questions and concerns. The first one, he's going to work for 2 more years. So you understand, he's 53, we're going to retire at 55, which is why he's asking, can I retire at 55? We're going to look at doing some Roth conversion strategy. So I want to know, how much can we convert? Now, after our initial discussion, he told me he wants to look at converting $15,000 a year from his traditional IRA to his Roth IRA. So we're going to do a $15,000 Roth conversion every year. A Roth conversion is simply taking money out of a pre-tax vehicle, or pre-tax retirement vehicle, an IRA, a SEP IRA, maybe it's a 401k that you've rolled over into a traditional IRA, and moving that from the IRA into a Roth IRA. Now, you pay taxes, or you put on your tax return that you took out money from your IRA and it's considered ordinary income. You pay taxes on that, and now that money grows tax-free in your Roth IRA. All right, so we're going to look at some Roth conversions. He wants to do 2 rates of return. He wants to do a 6% rate of return on his investments right now in the market. And then once he gets to retirement, he wants to do a 4.4% rate of return on his investments. He's a very conservative investor. Now remember, the market over the last 100 years has basically averaged somewhere around 10% per year. 8% with inflation, okay? So I'm already being pretty conservative by doing rates of return 2% behind that at 6%, but he wants to go even further to 4.4%. All right, so let's get into this. Can I retire at 55 with $1.6 million? Hey, let me interrupt this very important video to encourage you to enroll in the new course, Can I Retire?, presented by Your Financial EKG. This course is absolutely free and helps you to determine if you are ready to retire. All the information is below. All right, so let's dive into this. We've got a 53-year-old single individual. He's wanting to retire in 2 years, so he's asking the question, can I retire at 55? And we're gonna see some assets. We've got about 1.4 million right now. We're projecting 1.6 at retirement. So that's the analysis we wanna run through right now. Okay, so let's get into it. His current salary is $11,637 a month, which is about $140,000 a year. Now remember, he's 53 and we want to work for 2 more years based on the calculations that we've done together. For me and David, I mean, not me and you, but me and David, for Social Security, we've decided to take Social Security at 62. He's single, there's no heirs, we don't want to necessarily eat into the retirement assets and retirement investments at that age, so we're going to start taking Social Security at 62, plus he has this pension at 62 of $848, so from a monthly income standpoint, we're going to try to solidify as much of his monthly income as we possibly can as early as we possibly can. We've got, let me just scroll down here first. We've got $1.4 million in retirement assets. So $1.4 million in retirement investments. And really, he's got a really good spread of taxable and non-taxable. He's got about 48% of his retirement investments in qualified assets, meaning pre-tax, meaning you're paying tax as you pull that money out. He's got about 15% in Roth IRA, meaning that tax has already been paid, so it's going to be tax-free when it comes out. And he's got about 33% in what I call the freedom bucket, non-qualified money. And what do I mean by freedom bucket? And I've been preaching this on my channel forever. You want to have a bucket of money, not IRA, not Roth IRA, just regular money. Maybe it's in a brokerage account, maybe it's in a bank account, whatever. You want to have a bucket of money that you can pull from at any time, whether you're 50, 55, 59, 65, whatever. You want to have a bucket of money that you can pull from and you're not going to pay penalties, fees, or unnecessary taxes. Now, with a freedom bucket or a non-qualified account, if you're investing in the market, you're going to pay taxes on dividends, interest, and capital gains, but you're not going to pay taxes on just the money coming out. So it's really, really important if you're wanting to retire at 50. Can I retire at 50? Can I retire at 55? If you're asking those questions, it's really important for you to have a designated bucket of money that you can pull from that's not 401k, that's not IRA, that's not Roth IRA. Because the hardest thing is working within some of those rules, like the rule of 55, 72 to age 59.5. If we can not work within those rules, it makes your life and it makes my life a lot simpler. All right, so that's our current asset situation. Now we're going to do a rate of return for him. Remember, 2 rates of return. We're going to do 6% before retirement, and we're going to do 4.4% after retirement. The reason we're doing that is he's a very conservative investor, and so he wants to see a lower rate of return when he gets into retirement because he wants to downshift his investments, right? So he's working, he's adding to his 401k, and while he's doing that, he wants to see this grow. He wants to see his 401k grow because he's adding money to it. But when he retires, he's basically going to lose a paycheck, right? He's not going to have any more money anymore or any more salary coming in. And so he wants to downshift his risk and downshift his rates of return because he knows that this is it. This is his money. This is his pot. And if that goes away, he don't want to go back to work. Okay, so let's look at expenses. So from an expense standpoint, his current monthly expenses are $4,167 per month. Now we're going to give that an inflation rate of 3.24%. So we're looking at this on a 108-year average. Now I realize that inflation's a lot higher right now when this video is recorded, but if you're watching this 10 years from now, inflation might have subsided and we might not be putting up 7, 8, 9 spots when it comes to inflation. Now, from a cash flow standpoint, there's 3 things that this gentleman wants to make sure that we have solved for when it comes to his retirement. Number 1, we have a lump sum pension coming in January of 2034 of $57,000. We need to add that in the plan. That's taxable money that's coming into the plan. We want to know what that's going to do, what's it going to do tax-wise, how long is our money going to last. The second thing we want to add into this is health insurance. He's retiring at 55. We have 10 years before Medicare kicks in. So we need to budget in some health insurance. So for him, we're budgeting in $1,000 a month. Now, that might be a little high. He's a single guy, but it's okay because we're budgeting it in. And if we overshoot, that's great. I would rather go above and beyond than below deck and we sink because we hit an iceberg. We're not paying attention. And then the last thing, the third thing we want to look at is Roth conversion. So I'm going to come back to this because I want to solve the first thing first, which is, can I retire at 55? So let's just jump to that. So for this gentleman, at 55, we're starting with today $1.4 million, earning 6% a year. At 55, he'd had $1,662,000. Now, based on the software, he never runs out of money. And at 100, actually, yeah, at 100, he's got $359,000 left in retirement investments, which is great. And you can see how those are spread out right here. Now, the one thing when I talked to him, I said, look at 90. You're at 1.297 at 90. I said, you should feel really good about that. He said, I do feel really good about that. And so now we've solved, can I retire at 55? Now we want to look at, what about those Roth conversions? So let's go back to cash flows. He wants to do a $15,000 Roth conversion every year. Now remember, a Roth conversion is just taking money out of your IRA, putting it into a Roth IRA, you pay the tax now, and then that money grows tax-free. So when we go to this, we're taking this out of his IRAs. He's got an IRA at Vanguard. We're going to take it out of there. We're going to put it in his Vanguard Roth IRA. We're going to do $15,000 annually. We're going to start this in June, and we're going to do this for life, meaning we're going to run that account to zero. We're going to take all the money out of it that we can. And so basically, we do this until the year 2045. So today is 2022. What's that? 23 years. So it basically takes 23 years to drain the account doing a $15,000 Roth conversion. Now wait a sec right there, because this is something that we're just building into the plan. Obviously, we can add multiple Roth conversions. We can add more Roth conversions. We can add a higher amount. I'm just trying to show him a basic cornerstone plan, and then once we have the basic plan built, then we can illuminate on that. We can go as many different directions as he wants, as many Roth conversions. We can look at different years, how much is the taxes going to be, does it make sense to do lump sums at that point? We can go anywhere he wants, but right now, we're just trying to get that base case fixed. So we're going to save and close this. We go over to taxes. We just want to verify that it's on there. There it is, $15,000 in Roth conversions. We got our $140,000 in income. Again, that's for 2 more years. He's got $30,000 in qualified contribution. That's to his 401k. And we're doing a $15,000 Roth conversion. So in the year 2022, his projected federal tax bracket is 16.5%. Which is pretty good. Now that's his effective tax rate. His federal tax bracket is actually 24. So if you look at the brackets, you look at income, he's in the 24% bracket. But after qualified contributions to his 401k, after the standard deduction, and after everything else, he's actually in the 16.5% effective tax rate. That's what you need to be looking at, not the bracket. We have a progressive tax code, right? Each dollar is taxed as a progressive tax dollar. So like if you make $140,000, it's not all taxed at 24%. You have progressions in the tax code. So if you're trying to figure out Roth conversions and you're just thinking, oh, it's all going to be taxed at 30%, you're thinking wrong. It's a progressive tax code. And so we need to look at it and say, how is this dollar taxed based on where I'm at in the tax code? Okay, so if we look at the year 2024, let's just go 2 years out. Now his effective tax rate drops 13 to 13.56. His wage is $11,000 because he works for a little bit, and then we've got $76,000 in taxable withdrawals. $15,000 of that is his Roth conversion, and the rest is income that he needs to live off of. So for this gentleman, can I retire at 55 with $1.6 million? Yes, we can. What about Social Security? We're taking it at 62. What about Roth conversions? Yes, you can, and you can stay in a low tax bracket, all right? Well, hey, thank you so much for watching this scenario. If you want me to do a scenario for you, download the Roadmap to Retirement in the comment section. Click that, download that free booklet, select yes that you want to meet with me, and we can go through a Your Financial EKG for you to get you to retirement, to get you through retirement, and protect your ability to stay in retirement. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.